Hi, I've been thinking a lot about what kind of things do I want to talk about on this channel. I was looking through my memoir that I started writing several years ago, and every once in a while I add to it. And I have some of it typed, but most of it's still in written, handwritten, which my grandkids probably won't be able to read because nobody's learning how to read cursive anymore. Um, and a lot of times they don't want to read this, just show me a video. So I thought I would maybe read some of those or talk about them. And then I found this paper that I got somewhere. I don't know where I got it. Might have it might have been given to one of my kids. I'm not sure where it came from, but it says interview someone you love about life. And there are 32 questions on these two pieces of paper about different things that you might want to ask somebody. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to pick one of these. So one of the questions is, what do you remember most about your teenage years? And oh boy, I got some stories there. Um, I have to preface it by my parents were divorced. They got divorced when I was 13. So my teenagers years kind of got off kind of a shitty start. I remember being devastated by that. And we had just gotten this beagle. We had just gotten that for her birthday. And I got really attached. She was like the first dog that I've ever really bonded with because I'm really more of a cat person. But I thought, oh, she liked me. We played, and I thought, oh, she likes me. So my first thought was when they came out of the bedroom and said that Dad was leaving right then, and that we were going to have to sell the house, and Mom and I would have to move into an apartment. My first thought was, what about Velvet? What about the dog? And so I was just sobbing. It was just terrible. I was more upset about losing the dog than my dad, who really wasn't a huge figure in my life. Really, he was gone a lot. He was traveling. He was a traveling salesman, and since he'd been having an affair with his later on wife, the reason he was leaving my mom, he had been spending a week with her, saying he had to travel for 2 weeks. Used to be 1 week home, 1 week on the road, 1 week home. And then all of a sudden it was 2 weeks, so he was spending 1 week with her, which was shitty. Anyway, so my dad, my dad's a great guy. He was a great guy, but except for this. But when he left, he didn't maintain any real regular visitation with me. I'd have to go to him. I'd have to go to him at Christmas time, and and he was raising her kids, not me. And so that was the start of my teenage years. But I don't want to dwell on the negative part of that. It was pretty shitty. I was left with a mom who was crying all the time. She was devastated, brokenhearted. They'd been married for 26 years, and he leaves her for a younger woman. How that's just no fun for anybody. So I had compassion for my mom, but I was 13. What do I do? How do I navigate this? And then I'm expected to navigate the the scenario where I go to their house where they're all familiar with each other and they're all just this one happy family. And then I come in, I'm the blood child, but I feel like the stepchild. I didn't feel like I fit in. It was pretty hard to cope with. There's my dog, Lulu. Um, so I got through that. But one of the ways I got through it was I had some really solid friends. My friendships are what got me through it. I had a best friend that I'd had since like third grade. And we were best friends till about ninth grade when she decided she needed to dump me. She said, you need to find your own friends, quit hanging on me and following me around. It's like, what? That devastated me. So I had her. Then in my junior year, they built a new high school. So my best friend who had kind of tried to dump me went to the new school and I was left on my own and I made a new best friend. So my best friends were how I survived. I realized that my friends were my strength. They're the only reason I survived, I think. I had a great network of friends. And then my mom met somebody senior year, early, I think it was like summer. No, actually, it was before that. Might have been junior and senior year. She met someone, and so she would go to his house for the weekend, like Friday to Sunday. So I was left alone with my friends, and they'd come over, and I had one friend who looked really old. He was the youngest guy in our class, and he looked like he was in his 30s because he was balding already. And he would go buy beer for us. And so I did that for a while. And then one day I thought, Mom is trusting me to be a good person here in this house. So I told people, you can't do that anymore. Go somewhere else and drink. So we would just hang out, we just hung out every weekend. And then I had my best friend, and we would drive all over the place. We had a really fun time. And so my network of friends is how I got through it. And I look back and this is something that I've always wanted to talk to people about. I wanted to share with young people who are graduating from high school. When you're in school, you're like, oh, I can't wait to graduate. I'm so sick of being here. The school sucks, blah, blah, blah. You have all that blah, 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 negative shit about school. And I was not prepared for graduation. I mean, graduation was great. We had a great grad party and all that. But I was not prepared for the fact that, poof, all these people that had been my lifeline in my life were gone. They were just gone. My best friend, she got a job right out of high school, so I couldn't see her. And then I had to move in with my mom, who had since married this guy. And so I had to move 20 miles away and be in this place I didn't know. And I didn't know anybody. I was already shy. I had my friends. I was comfortable with my friends, but I was very shy. And I didn't start working till that fall. So I just was lost. I was so depressed. I did not expect the void in my life, that those people who had been my friends all this time were just gone, just poof, like that. So, and some of them I've never seen again, ever. I just recently reconnected with 4 other girls. We went on a girls' trip, and one of them I have not seen since graduation. The other one I've only seen once, maybe twice since graduation. And I'm talking like 52 years. And the other one I've seen a few times. And then the other one time. So, maybe, except at reunions, I've been to a few reunions, so I see them there for a minute. But, we're not hanging out. We're just, hi, how are you? And then you go on to the next person. So I encourage you, if you're in school, enjoy these years, because the real life outside of school is not a piece of cake. It's going to be work. It's going to be fine. You'll be fine. Just go for it. Do your thing. But, work hard, find your passion and pursue your passion. But don't ignore where you are right now. Live in this moment, because your life will never be like this again. You'll have friends, but friends as adults are different. It's a different thing. I mean, it's not like they're not your friends. It's not great and fun, but your life is different when you have to be responsible and go to work or have children. When you have kids, you don't really have a lot of time for friends in the same way you did in school. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but that's what I remember most about my teenage years, is how much my friends mattered, how much they held me together. I didn't really realize that until I really started thinking about it. My friendships, my time at school was more of a home than being home with my mom, who was sad, who was, she was tired and she's working, and she had a lot of shit dealt to her. And so, it wasn't a positive thing to be at home, but all my positive things happened at school. And so that's where my friends were, and I missed them. So that's what I remember about my teenage years. It could have been a lot more fun. I do remember some fun stuff. I mean, it wasn't all bad. I had a lot of fun. My friend Deb and I had a lot of fun. We drove around a lot, laughed a lot, did some stupid things. But anyway, anybody who's listening, if you're young, especially if you're in school, pay attention, stay happy, enjoy the people you're with, because you may not see them again. Some of them you may never see again. So life will take you lots of different places. You never know. So anyway, I hope you get something out of this. And grandkids, if you're listening, stay in school, work hard, enjoy your friendships, and have fun. And then on to the rest of your life. All right. Thanks for listening.